Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another week of TGP2 racing. And if tonight's races are as half as good as last week's, then, well, we're once again going to be in for quite a treat. We've got Austria coming up and Silverstone a little bit later on tonight as the championship, after the first 3 weeks of the season, sees Theo Hickman, who won the final race in all 3 weeks so far, is 10 points clear on 98 points ahead of Dom on 88. Still yet to make it on to 31 wins with Mike Noonan. And we've got Jacko in third on 83 points, looking to bounce back after that strange crash in the race at the start of France. They're really the top three in the championship. Then there's a bit of a gap to pass on 66, and then a huge pack of drivers, starting with Blair Girls in fifth place on 49 points. And of course, this week we see the return of Magic Poop Cannon, who's going to be looking to bounce back after having to miss last week's racing. At the minute, we've got Dom on pole and Daniel P. Wheelnut doing very well. Found a lot of pace lately, and he's just 2 thousandths ahead of Magic Poop Cannon. And alongside me to watch both of these races once again is Mr. Jovial Manatee, Roy. Hello.
Good evening, Daniel. Yeah, looking forward to tonight's races. Tracks that offer great opportunities for racing, and we certainly saw a lot of overtaking, a lot of action last night, so hopefully more of the same tonight, although perhaps with less controversy attached to it.
Yes.
But yeah, just saw the McLaren of Wet Lemons jump up into P9, although he looks like he's kind of blocked in the final two corners by Sir Tom Penguin in the AlphaTauri, so hopefully for Wet Lemons he'll be able to improve later on in the session, because he definitely lost at least one place from those incidents. But yeah, as you say, it's Dom Smith currently on provisional pole.
It is indeed, but we've got Dom, Daniel P. Wheelnuts, Magic Poop Cannon all on laps right now, all going to be looking to improve the top three. We've got Jacko starting a lap, but Blair, I was about to say we've got Blair Grills about to finish a lap in fifth place, but he's actually come into the pit lane. He must have made an error, so he is not going to be able to finish that lap off then. So we're going to see, I think Dom's probably the man to watch at the moment, see if he can improve. He's slightly down in the middle sector, just ever so slightly, but we'll see if he can find an improvement. He's currently on pole, and he's on pole by quite a margin for such a short track, by 2/10 as he throws it into turn 9. And then the final corner just takes a nice bit of curve there. That's lovely. Opens the DRS. Will he extend his gap at the top? He does, by half a tenth. He extends it. And we've got Magic Poop Cannon immediately beats it on a 104.314.
And Wheelnut crosses the line. I don't think he improved on that one, so he'll
remain
in P3. There's an Alfa Romeo at the final corner. It's Jacko with an invalid lap.
He's invalidated, yeah.
There's a McLaren coming up, also with an invalid lap.
Who's also invalidated. It is very easy to invalidate on this track. It is very, very easy indeed. And you invalidate towards the end of the lap, of course, you'll get this lap and next lap invalidated. But just watching Mighty Green Lemon, Sean, who's one of the reserves, who's making his debut for this season in TGP2, as he's coming around the final couple of corners. It looks like he's going to make an improvement here. See if he can. Oh, somehow that's not an invalidation. He's kept it apparently on the track there and goes into fourth.
Yeah, not a bad return to league racing for the Mighty Green Lemon. Is there anyone else on a lap?
Wheelnut's going quicker. I think Wheelnut's about to improve again. He's gone for another lap, throwing it into the corner there. Final turn. Now that surely will be an invalidation. No, it's not an invalidation. Okay, he's going to continue, and he goes into second place.
Right on the edge.
Well, over the edge. Jacko's invalidated again. This is a bit like last week. He can't get a lap in. And he's in fifth place right now. We should say, of course, the championship leader, Hickman, has got a quali ban, so he'll be starting this race at the very back.
Blair Grills and Chris Johnson for Alpine, both on outlaps.
Bazza coming around the final corner. Bazza goes into ninth place. So I'm just tempted to see how long we've got left in this session. We've got I don't think we're not having enough time now. Of course, you're in the pit lane. That's it. I'm not really sure how many more improvements we're going to see. We've got Blair Grills just starting a lap here with a few seconds to go. And I tell you what, he's going to get a lovely tow from Chris Johnson as well, his teammate, who's also on a lap. In fact, Chris Johnson's invalidated.
Chris Johnson ran wide at the final corner, and I believe he actually backed up on the pit straight in order to give Blair Grills this tow.
Well, it's put Blair Grills nearly 2 tenths up in the first sector. Now, surely Chris Johnson will move out the way. He does indeed. I tell you what, if Blair Grills can keep it on the road here, this final bit of the lap, he stands for a very good position. At the moment, Jacko's having to pit. That's it for Jacko, so he's going to be starting to higher than 5th. I wonder if Jacko can bump him down another spot. He's 3 tenths up, Blair Grills.
No,
oh, he spun. Oh, it's very easy to hit the curb there and lose the car. And that's what he's done, and we'll never know if Blair Grills would have had enough at the end of the lap to possibly take a pole, possibly take a front row. That's a shame for him, and he will start in 6th place. Let's say Tom Penguin actually going around the final corner. He might be able to improve a little bit more. Let's see. Well, he does improve, literally just a little bit more, and but it stays in 13th. So an exciting end to qualifying there, and we've got a Mercedes 1-2.
Yeah, Mercedes will be very, very happy with that one. I think Dom would be happy enough with P3, but perhaps felt he could have been in the fight for pole. I think Mighty Green Lemon would be satisfied with that. Hasn't done league racing in quite a while. He used to be in TGP1, of course, but yeah, taking a break from league racing and returning to TGP2 in the 2nd tier. And yeah, quali is done. I believe we're just waiting for someone to
there we go
into the garage.
Oh, Jacko was on the mediums. Wow.
The lap was set on mediums, or
yeah, well, he's starting the race on the medium tyres.
So let's have a quick run through the grid. So as you said, it's a Mercedes 1-2 headed by Magic Poop Cannon at the front of the grid. Dom Smith is in P3, so he made the press conference. Mighty Green Lemon in P4 with Jacko on the medium tyres in P5. Blair Grills for Alpine is 6th, followed by Officially Parsa, Chris Johnson. Baza in 9th, Wet Lemons 10th, Sayer Sports in P11 with a fresh choice of tyres, as will everyone else in that I'm about to mention. Indecisive Mackie, Sir Tom Penguin, Angel vs Death in P14. Kaya for Haas is just behind his teammate in 15th, followed by Mr. John, Red Bull Kim, and Theo Hickman with that qualifying ban, and Alex Afro, who crashed out earlier in the session on the exit of turn number 1.
So Jacko will start this race on the medium tyres. I'm sure he was definitely on the softs at the end of that session, so I think he had several invalidations and couldn't improve his time. So that would certainly suggest he has a lot of pace, but couldn't get the lap in on the soft tyres. I think we had Matt Tibos yesterday in TGP1 started on mediums, I think, around here, and very nearly won the race. In fact, he did win the race, didn't he? I think the penalty, and he won. So you can't take the different strategy around here, and well, we'll see if it works for Jacko.
I was also on that strategy, just thought I'd point that out. It worked for me as well. But less spectacular fashion, though, I must admit. Just the P6 for me. But anyway, we're about to get underway at the Red Bull Ring. We're away in Austria, and it looks like a fairly even start at the front, except for Dom Smith, who's actually got a brilliant start, but does not have the room to cut through the 2 Mercedes cars. And it's actually Wheelnut who leads Magic Poop Cannon. Dom Smith's on the inside, is very careful not to oversteer it on the exit, make contact with Magic Poop Cannon in the Mercedes. But they're side by side now, heading up into turn 3. Dom Smith has got the slipstream, but the Mercedes of Daniel Wheelnut moves over to give his teammate the tow. And
he's going for it!
Goes very, very late on the brakes. There is contact made, probable front wing damage for Dom, minor front wing damage, but everyone's made it relatively safely through the first 3 corners. But yeah, that's not what Dom is looking to do, and I think is there more contact?
No, well, I mean, Dom had so much of a slipstream going down into the turn 4, he had to back out of it. As Alex Afro out the race, Alex Afro's crashed, I think he's made contact, looks like Mr. John, and we have a virtual safety car because of that. And Blair Grills just getting ahead there of Mighty Green Lemon just before the BSC was called. So yeah, Dom Smith had an unbelievable slipstream in the exit of turn 3, he had to back out of it, and almost would have caused a crash if he obviously kept going. Are we going to see anybody pit? Dom is pitting, Dom is going to come in straight away then, and he'll be open for a long BSC. In fact, I don't think anybody else is choosing to come in.
That to me says he does indeed have wing damage. It's very difficult to tell. The cosmetic damage scale on this game isn't quite the same as the actual damage scale.
Yeah, he is changing his front wing.
Yeah.
He did get damage.
Well, I guess it's the perfect time.
That would be an into turn 2, wouldn't it? When you got Jacko in as well, interestingly. So Jacko also coming in. I don't think he's changed to any front wings there, so that's going to put him on the soft tyres now. Surely he can't go to the end on the soft tyres, but we'll see if he can. Got Hickman then up into 10th place. And it looks like we're going to get a restart. Yes, we are going to get a restart. And who's going to get the best jump? Look at 5th and 6th place. Look at the two Lemons. It's Lemonade fighting it out here as Wet Lemon's almost pushing Mighty Green Lemon around the track. And it looks like this battle could go on for some time. He's going to go for the move, the McLaren.
Two different types of lemons fighting on track. We've got green ones, we've got wet ones, and who comes out on top? It's Wet Lemons who beats out the green lemon and up into 5th place for the McLaren driver. Started P10. So great start of the race for Wet Lemons. The two McLarens running 3rd and 5th so far. Yeah,
really good start by Wet Lemons, especially as you say. So the two Mercedes then still lead the way. They managed to hold off the charging Dom Smith at the start of this race. And then Wheelnut, as we mentioned before, really gained so much time lately. And can he possibly head for a win? I wonder in this race. We've got Parser now, we've got DRS deployed, and Parser is gaining on Magic Poop Cannon. And is he going to go for 2nd place down here? He is going to go for 2nd place. They do make contact, and Parser's round.
I'd say Parser braked a bit too late there. Sorry, I was watching the battle between Mighty Green Lemon and Baza. I cut to that a little bit late. Saw the end of the contact was Parser late on the brakes.
Well, I mean, he sort of tried to throw it up there, a bit of a half dive bomb. I think he's only got himself to blame ultimately. But he's only lost one position to Blair Girls. He's now up into 3rd place. Of course, we watched him spin. At the very end of qualifying, he would have been hoping for starting even higher up the field. But he's in a good position now in 3rd. Although Parset will want to get that position back. Meanwhile, towards the back, let's see, we've got Dom, who's of course made the pit stop. 2nd and a half behind Chris Johnson, who also chose the pit.
So Chris Johnson, the leader of those who have pitted, but he could actually take the lead then when everyone else pits potentially. But I don't know, the tyre wear is probably not going to last for the whole race. Even if he does have track position, it's not going to last. But Wet Lemons all over the back of Parsa. I don't think he's close enough to make any kind of move, and he stays behind his teammate. And there's another DRS zone down here, so sometimes it's better to be patient at turn 3 and just see if you can get a better exit and line your opponent up into turn 4. But nothing doing this time around for either McLaren driver as they pressure the drivers in front of them.
Yeah, I think Poop Cannon, Blair Girls and the two McLarens are basically in a bit of a DRS train here, aren't they? And it's Wheelnut who's 1.3 seconds clear of Poop Cannon, and if he can keep that kind of gap, he will be on a very good position come the end of this race. Can he possibly win it? He's doing very, very well so far. There's a penalty for Basil as well in 6th place, and I think, is that during the safety car as it came out of VSC? I think it might be, and so he might get that removed. We'll have to see after the race as the drivers start lap 6. It looks like one of the McLarens nearly lost it there. I think Wet Lemons had a bit of a dodgy exit out the corner, but he's still there, and we'll see this time if Barset decides to go for an attack. Oh, he goes a bit wide and loses a bit of time, but Wet Lemons went even wider and picks up a penalty himself.
I think Parsa definitely looks quicker than Blair Grills, but it's Blair Grills who also has DRS, so it's Magic Poop Cannon towing these guys along, and I think Blair Grills is benefiting massively from it.
Mighty Green Lemons and Sayer Sports, they're going to get involved in a bit of a battle here. They just both got past Basil, who went a bit wide, and this Sayer Sports going to get the pair of them down this straight. I think he is, and he goes into 6th.
Brilliant stuff from the Ferrari of Sayer Sports. He's up into P6, passing Mighty Green Lemon, who's got Baza all over him. These two have been battling now for several laps by the looks of things. And now Theo Hickman has worked his way up to 9th, and he's going to be looking to make moves on these drivers, hopefully not getting caught in the DRS train.
Oh, he's got so much pace, Hickman. He had to back out of that. I suppose off the throttle there. He could have gone for Baza. In fact, is he going to pit? He is going to choose to get out of that traffic and pit. So does Wet Lemons. Wet Lemons also pits then. He's one of the top front runners to come in. We've got Theo and essentially the second group to come into the pit lane, and Indecisive also comes in then. So these guys who've stayed out now need to start going on a bit of a charge to prevent any sort of undercut. As we see, is this Mighty Green Lemon? He's gaining here. Oh, I think Parson might just tap the back of Blair Girls there. We'll see if there's any damage. But Mighty Green Lemon gets back past Sayer Sports for 5th place. Although it's a good exit for Joe Sayer, and he might be able to get him back here, Roy.
Yeah, he's going to try and do it around the outside. We've seen plenty of incidents at turn 4 in real life, but at the end of the day, it's easy for Sayer Sports, and he gives plenty of room on the inside, and he stays in 5th place.
trying to see then if Parson might have picked up a bit of damage. I noticed he tapped the back of Blair Grills, and look how much time he's lost. Actually,
Yeah,
he's
definite
1.6
damage.
seconds. He must have got some damage or something.
And like I thought Blair Grills was actually going to hit the back of Poop Cannon going into that third corner. I thought Blair Grills was late on the brakes, and then I just saw the McLaren come into shot, and yeah, contact was definitely made. So Parsa has to pit to replace that wing, which is good news for the likes of Dom, who may be in the fight now.
Yeah, Poop Cannon coming in, and so is Mighty Green Lemons. We're going to get a flag. I think it's Wet Lemons has spun. Wet Lemons has gone for a spin in the gravel. But just wanted Dom Smith, who's made up a lot of positions lately. He's gotten right past Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson he's ahead of him. We missed that overtake because we were watching the battles at the front. And let's see if Dom is going to jump these guys. He's going into the first corner. There's Matthew Poop Cannon, who was battling at the start. And coming out the pit lane, they're going to be almost side by side with each other. But Dom's going to get the DRS, and he's going to have a run down into the second corner. He's going to try and go round on the outside. Can he be late on the brakes? Can he go into essentially a net lead? Yes, he can.
So Dom with the track position, but the problem for him though is that his tyres are already 6 laps older than everyone else.
And Poop Cannon's immediately got straight back ahead. Oh, and Dom takes a lot of curb, and Poop Cannon gets back past then. Of course, I say net lead. Let's not forget about Wheelnut, who was flying out ahead, but now he comes into the pit lane and makes his stop, and it's going to be so interesting to see where these guys are in relation. So he comes in, Blair Gills says, "Go to Basil, continue," and Dom spun. Oh, he spun it at that corner, and that is going to lose him a lot of positions. And in fact, Hickman, who's just pitted, has now passed Dom.
So Theo Hickman, after making the stop, is running in P10. So it's looking like a pretty measured drive from the Englishman. Now Magic Poop Cannon versus Blown Wheelnut, and well, Wheelnut is a long way clear. So I don't think Dom really helped Magic Poop Cannon on that outlap, and we have a Red Bull who has spun. I believe that's Mr. John. In fact, he's out of the race. He has retired at turn number 8.
And Sayersports and Bazza are battling as well. Now these guys are still yet to pit. Sayersports gets ahead of Bazza for second place then. So it doesn't look like we're going to have a safety car or anything. So right now we've got Jacko, who pitted early and gone on a soft tyres. Surely he's going to be struggling towards the end of this race. He's in 6th place. And then we've got Hickman. Look at Hickman getting past Kayat as well. Kayat's into 10th then. So Hickman in 9th and Dom in 12th. They're the top 3 in the championship.
Theo Hickman all over the back of Mighty Green Lemon. I don't think the two of these have ever raced before. In fact, I'm almost certain that they haven't. But yeah, Theo, if Mighty Green Lemon's not aware, is indeed the championship leader, and he's looking very, very fast. Well, I'm sure he's aware of a latter statement. But into the pits comes Bazza and Sayersports to change their tyres. So I believe it's Blair Grills, the only driver who has yet to pit. But DRS is open now for Theo Hickman. He's better off waiting until turn 3, because turn 1's not always the best overtaking opportunity. DRS now, he took a lot of curb on the exit. Hopefully that was not a warning for the Williams. And he's got a big toe now heading into turn 3, but he's not going to be close enough to make the move now. He just needs to prioritise getting a good exit out of turn 3, and hopefully he can make his way past the Red Bull.
But he's just watching Kaya and Parson were battling all the way down into turn 2 there. They were side by sides, and Parson managed to get through, which will be a relief to him. Hickman can't make any inroads on Green Lemon that time around. Parson in 8th place then. Dom gets back past Kaya again for 10th then. Dom trying to get back the ground, as Blake Gills is now the final driver, I think, really, isn't he, of the front runners to come into the pit lane, and we'll see where he comes out. He certainly had a good first stint, made up quite a few positions, and we'll see where he comes out in the pack. Is he going to maybe come out? Is he going to be behind Chris Johnson, perhaps?
Quite possibly. He may just keep ahead of him, actually, because he's not under the pit lane limiter anymore. Although Chris Johnson's right there. Apologies, I'm getting my colours mixed up on the map. Chris Johnson, they're side by side as they come out the pits, but I think it's going to be Chris Johnson who'll have the run, he'll have the momentum. He's got DRS and the Alfa Romeo in front of him, so Chris Johnson will keep the position and remain P4 on track. But Blair Grills has got fresher tyres, remember.
He has indeed, and Green Lemon and Hickman are once again doing battle. Hickman did briefly get ahead, but then Green Lemon got back past on this DRS straight, and Hickman might try and have a go on the next one, but got an incredible exit out the corner there, Mighty Green Lemon, and pulls away almost immediately, and Hickman can't get him back as they reach the corner. Oh, a Parser as well now, right on the back of Hickman.
It does look as though Theo has the ultimate lap pace, but it seems he's either struggling with traction or straight line speed. Something's not quite there, because he does look clearly quicker than the Red Bull in front of him, but he's just not able to make a move, despite having 3 DRS zones at his disposal.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's again right all over the back of Motor Green Lemon, and meanwhile towards the front, it's the two Mercedes are quite nice little having a bit of fun really. 1.8 seconds clear Wales, and then Buchanan is about a second clear of Jacko, and it's Jacko on the soft tyres going to have to try and keep them all behind them as Hickman now does get past once again Motor Green Lemon, and I think Parson might get past as well this time.
Yeah, I think Parson may have sort of tried to follow Theo through to turn one, and Mike Green Lemon took a lot of exit curve, more than he would have wanted, and disrupted his momentum. Now, Parson has been getting very good exits out of this turn 3, and he's got DRS on the Williams in front. I don't know if he's going to be close enough, but he's going to give it a go, because Parson does love an overtake, whether it's the inside or the outside, and it's the inside on this occasion. They almost bang wheels. Parsons up the inside and through on Theo into P6. Theo, by the way, also picked up a time penalty on the last lap before track limits, as Theo had a look up the inside. It's not the corner you want to have a lunge at, and Theo thankfully backed out of that, and will live to fight another day.
Yeah, I'm glad you backed out of that one, but he's got to be careful now. Of course, now they passed the penalty. He'll hope that maybe a few others around them also get a few corner cut penalties, but certainly it's only him. It's him and Dom at the moment who have the penalty, and you can add Mighty Green Lemon to that list as well in the top 10 who have penalties. So Jacko's still in third place, still on the soft tyres, as going through into turn 1. Hickman almost getting on the back of Parson, and Hickman might have a bit of a run here, but he's got so many battles happening. We've got Blake Grills also right on the back of Chris Johnson. He can't make it through. Is Theo going to get through on Parson? Oh, very late on the brakes, and he touched, and Mighty Green Lemon's gone into the back of Hickman. Oh, and nearly loses it as he tries to get the pile back down. Has he picked up some damage? Safe Sports is now right on the back of him.
Yeah, Theo tried to back out of it, but did not have enough room after missing his braking point, and Mighty Green Lemon could potentially be the one to face the consequences of that, because Sayer Sports has just breezed past the Red Bull. Let's see how difficult it will be for Dom, or how easy it will be for Dom, and there's a lot of understeer in that Red Bull. Yeah, he's picked up damage for sure. So he may just pit. There's still 6 laps of this race to go. Still 1/3 of the race. So I think Mighty Green Lemon will be better off pitting and perhaps just going for fastest lap at this point.
Well, on his return to TGP2, I don't think he's going to be very happy with the championship leader because of that moment. Meanwhile, the two Alpines, again getting very close. In fact, Chris Johnson goes very wide at turn 1, and it's had to use the runoff zone, almost like WRX there, just taking a joke a lap. Gets him a nice exit off the corner and doesn't allow Blake Grills to get anywhere near them into the second corner. And in fact, Chris Johnson gets even closer to Jacko. Jacko still 10 laps on those soft tyres. He's still there in third.
Chris Johnson in no mood to let Blair Grills through easily, but Blair Grills now has the inside line for turn 4. They go side by side briefly. Will Chris Johnson get the better exit? I don't think he's going to, so Blair Grills has now moved his way up past Chris Johnson. He is on fresher tyres, remember. He was the last driver to pit in this race. On lap 9, which is quite early for the final pit stop to be made, but he's making it work. He's in P4 and he's all over the back of Jacko now, and he has a big moment of oversteer on the exit there, so he needs to be careful. He's used all his deployment on this lap, so he's certainly fighting, he's certainly pushing out there, but Jacko will hopefully, for Blair Grills' sake, be fairly easy pickings.
Parson absolutely throwing it into the penultimate corner and almost lost the car, but got away with it. That was the moment. That was the reason why I had a bit of a moment there. He just got away with it, but he's still in the race. He's 1.2 seconds behind Chris Johnson, and it's Blake Grills closing in on Jacko now. Is this it? Is he going to go for Jacko? He's on those soft tyres, Jacko, but he goes very late into the corner, Blake Grills, and Jacko will get back to position.
He'll get back to position, but he will not get DRS, and Blair Grills is already on the inside heading into turn 4 now. And remember, Jacko's been on these soft tyres, not even medium, soft tyres since lap 1. Or the end of lap 1, I should say, and it's easy pickings for Blair Grills up into the podium places.
Well, I'm not sure how many positions Jacko's going to lose in these closing laps, but he can take some solace, I suppose, from the fact that Hickman and Dom do both have penalties in terms of being in the top 3 in the championship. So if he doesn't lose too many positions, he might still finish ahead of them, but I think he's probably going to struggle in these closing laps. I'd love to be able to get some sort of AWS graphic to see what percentage his tyres are at this moment in time, because he surely must be struggling.
I just noticed the fuel light actually came on for Chris Johnson there. It flashed up in yellow. It's back now, so Chris Johnson may have some fuel issues. He's going to under-fueled the car for this race. and he may have to do a bit of lifting and coasting, because of course the
Oh!
lean fuel mode is no longer available to us, and Parsa, he loves getting late on the brakes into turn 3, doesn't he? But he's going around the outside now, turn 4, on the Alpine driver. Is he going to outbrake him? Chris Johnson's not letting him through easily. They bang wheels, they bang chassis, and they make contact even more. But it's Chris Johnson who just about holds the position. But Parsa is still there, still on the outside. They're still side by side through turn 6. But it's Parsa who keeps the position.
Terrific battle going on there then. Yeah, terrific battle. And just further behind, we've got Theo, Hickman and Dom, who are now almost on the same piece of racetrack. And of course, these are the top 2 in the championship. They have both got penalties, but I think it's both just 3 seconds penalties, so they are essentially battling for position. And Dom nearly loses it, and I think this might make Say Sports be able to take the position here. They're going to be side by side there into turn 1, and Say Sports is going to get through, and Dom will lose another position.
Yeah, it's been a fairly scruffy race from Dom, I've got to say. He's had a spin, he had the moment on lap 1. Still running in 9th, but it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's far from the best. He should be up there with the Mercedes drivers, but it's just not materialising.
Oh, and he's hit the back of Say Sports now as well, and loses even further time. That'll lose him even more time. He's got the penalty as well. Well, saying that, a lot of drivers behind him have penalty as well, so it might not be too damaging. But he's certainly dropped right off the back of Say Sports now, and he might have damage as well.
Yeah, I think in Dom's case, he might as well stay out. He can probably still salvage 11th, provided he has he has damage. Oh,
it's a slow Ferrari. It's a slow Red Bull Kim. I thought we had to drive it off there towards the front of the field. And Hickman has another penalty. So that's 6 seconds now for Hickman, crucially. That could be a nice reprieve there for Dom, if you can stay within that time frame. But look at Parson now right on the back of Jacko. Jacko continuing to struggle surely on these soft tyres. He's only got to hang in there for 2 more laps, but where's he going to finish?
I think a wonderful helicam shot. Wish we had more of that, I have to say. But Parsa, he's derating all the way down the straight. He does not have deployment at his disposal. In fact, he hit 0, and he's tapped into another car. He keeps doing this. He can't just, hit them out the way. So I wonder if he's picked up wing damage from that. I have to say, McLaren, they build the wings very strong if he hasn't. But Jacko retains P4 somehow. And it's the penultimate lap. And Parsa has a penalty. If anything, Jacko might as well just let him through.
Yeah, I think you might be right, because again, he made contact. And they're still side by side there. Well, it's like Perez and Leclerc. As around the outside, I thought Foss was going to try and stick it and stay in there. Blake Grills gets a penalty. So crucially, Blake Grills gets a penalty. Jacko's back in third place for the time being.
I think if I was Jacko in the situation, if Parsa gets a run, just let him go. Use the DRS. There's 3 zones available. So you might as well. Look, Parsa is all over the back. So just let him through and let him tow it along.
Yeah, it's not worth it, is it? And Chris Johnson's closing right in anyway. So maybe going to turn 1. And, Jacko goes off the road. They're still going to be side by side. And Parsa gets through. Parsa throws his hands up in the air in disgust. Meanwhile, at the front, look at this. Poop cannon's closed in. So much on wheel on the final lap. Parsa and Jacko again side by side. Jacko, why is he fighting this? I don't know why he's fighting this. Because he's going to surely get third place anyway. But on this final lap, Poop cannon is putting some incredible laps all of a sudden. And is he going to take the win?
You say that he's been putting in incredible laps, but Jacko was going to still get the podium, but I don't think he is. He's actually fallen further back now. He's actually outside that 3-second gap he needs to overhaul Blair Grills. But the 2 Mercedes, as you said, fighting each other at the front of the field. But I think Daniel P. Wilnot is going to hold on here. I think as long as he doesn't get a penalty, he should be good. And it's Daniel Wilnot who wins in Austria. A fantastic measured drive from the Mercedes driver. Got the better start and wins the race from Magic Poupcan and his teammates. A 1-2 for Mercedes.
Yeah, dominance from Mercedes around here then in Austria. And I think that is pretty sure. Is that Roman Wilnot's first win in TGP2?
I think it is. I didn't want to mention it before the before the race finished in case it was used in a season review, but yeah, I think it is. Jacko did actually get the podium, so apologies for that. I swear at one point it was I don't know, I think that was a mistake on my part. But hard to do maths and direct and commentate at the same time. But still, Jacko on the podium with Blair Grills an impressive 4th, Could have been a podium. Could have been more in qualifying. I think just could have been more in general for Blair, but still P4 in the end. And we'll give you a rundown when we get the results on screen. Let's find out who the driver of the day is, decided by Codemasters. It is Theo Hickman. Well, makes sense. He worked his way up from the back of the grid. I think my personal driver of the day would be Daniel, our race winner. But
yeah, certainly.
The algorithm thinks differently. And it's Daniel P. Wilnut who takes his first win in the series.
So I will try and work out the current championship standings with the top three. But I will have to work it out with some maths.
While you do that, then I'll run through the results. So Daniel and Magic Poop Cannon taking a 1-2 for Mercedes, with Jacko on the podium benefiting from the penalties of Blair Grills in front. So Blair Grills in P4, Alpine having 2 cars in the top 5 with Chris Johnson in 5th. Parsa comes home in 6th after having quite the eventful race. Sayer Sports in P7 with Theo Hickman from the back of the grid making his way up to 8th. Dom Smith, despite all of his adventures, manages to come home in P9, and it's Baza who rounds out the top 10. The final point scorers are Wet Lemons in the McLaren, Indecisive Mackie, Mighty Green Lemon with the fastest lap, who did have to make that pit stop due to the damage caused by the incident with Theo in front of him. Kaya picks up the final point for Haas, and just missing out on points is Angel vs Death. Sir Tom Penguin had a spin, Red Bull Kim, who ended up a lap down, and our retirees, Mr. John and Alex Zaffro.
Was indeed then. So next up we have Silverstone coming up. So even with that 6-second penalty that Hickman had, he managed to hold off Dom, who of course had the 3-second one, and I think he'll be quite relieved for that. It's 15 points for Jacko in that race. Hickman picks up 7, and Dom picks up 6 points. This is under the Joe Sayer point system, of course. So I think Jacko has overtaken Dom in the championship. I'm fairly certain in saying that. Jacko will have now overtaken Dom in the championship. It's Hickman on 105, Jacko on 98, and Dom on 94, I believe. If only he didn't retire from that racing, I'd say, Roy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, could have been even closer. But well, these things happen in Formula 1, and they happen in TGP2 as well. But Silverstone, another track where you can race in all 3 sectors of the track. So hopefully,
Jacko in the chat specifically wants to point out that those 17 laps on soft tyres, and it was indeed looked like a risky choice on the first lap of the race to come in and go on the soft tyres, but well, it worked for him. He managed to fend them off. He didn't get any penalties, and picks up the podium.
Yeah, I have to say that was a very solid drive. It's not something I would have even attempted. I think I would have gone back into the pits when the safety car came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I mean, I'm just not great on traction anyway, to be honest with you. But yeah, I can't imagine it on 17 lap old tyres. But Silverstone, I have to say the softs in Silverstone do fare quite well. They can actually last a good distance. So we could potentially see drivers opt for an early switch to the softs should they start on mediums, which there's always at least one alternate runner. Can't wait for that to age horribly and have everyone on softs at the start. So someone, if you are listening, please do pick the mediums at the start.
Well, but, it's looking pretty dark overhead, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit gloomy.
I tell you what, I'm just having a quick check of Alex Afro's stream, who streams his race live, and it is looking to me as though this could be a wet race. I think this is going to be a wet race, just looking at the graphic on the screen of his stream. And also getting confirmation as well from other drivers, we have a wet race on the way here around Silverstone, Roy.
We do indeed, yeah. I've also received that forecast. So a wet race around Silverstone. Don't think we've actually have we seen a wet race so far in either TGP 1 or 2? I don't think we
No,
have.
no, we haven't seen any wet running at all in TGP2. We had the wet TGP1 Baku quali, and even then, at the end of the session, some drivers tried dry tyres, a la Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, George Russell. Um, and it looks like it's going to be a fully wet race all the way through as well. So, first proper wet running for these TGP2 drivers in a league on this game possibly is about to come up in 16 and a half minutes' time. This is going to be very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like wet running on this game, and I know um, just the traction in the wet on this game seems everyone is struggling with it. Certainly compared to the last game, and I have to say I am dreading any any wet running, to be honest. Um, I was one of those ones in Baku who, well, it was two of us went onto the softs at the end in Baku and just about made it work, improved my position anyway. But yeah, I was hopeless in the early parts of it. So yeah, some drivers do take to the rain, others not so much. So it's actually going to be fascinating to see how the rain shakes up the order. And there'll be no DRS or anything, so it's overtaking could be quite difficult. But a challenge to just stay on the track.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, you talk about it being wet for the race. It looks incredibly dark right now, doesn't it? It's like late at night. I mean, I know they held Silverstone qualifying at 6 o'clock this year in real life, but I mean, this looks like more like what 8, 9 o'clock on a summer's day.
Not so sure about summer, maybe maybe November. But yeah, it's very very dark and gloomy out there. It does look like it's about to rain, but I believe it is supposed to stay dry if I'm not
Yeah, for the
mistaken.
qualifying session, I think it's supposed to stay dry. Yeah.
Yeah, so well, as long as it's dry, they'll be happy. They can just about make out where the track is. And we've got Jacko on a flying lap. I mean, we've got many drivers on a flying lap, but Jacko is, I believe, the first of the big hitters to be on one, and he's making his way
Uh-huh.
now into cops, which a
And
lot
he's
of
going
drivers
flat.
find
He's going
difficult.
flat in Klopp's, and he managed it. He managed it totally flat there around Klopp's corner. Brilliant. It's very tough on this game, as you're about to say.
Yeah, he's nailed that. Some drivers not really finding that window with their setup. You know, it's sometimes drivers can go flat through there and then they crash because it's very difficult to find the balance between understeer and oversteer through there. But Jacko looks to have it nailed down, and he's about to cross the line in a few corners' time. Just needs to negotiate the Vale chicane and club corner. Maybe a little bit deep through the left-hander, the first part of it. But across the line goes Jacko, and well, there's only two drivers who set a time, but he is the fastest of those two with a 1:27.9. He's quicker than Serkan Penguin and Angel versus Death behind. And Alex
As
Zafro
Zafro goes second.
goes second as a Red Bull about to cross the line, and it is the driver starting a lap. And we also have
Got
Wet
Mackie
Lemons.
coming round. Mackie, I think he must have been validated because it's not last time's not appeared on the board. Wheelnut goes into third place. Wet Lemon seconds. Somebody spun a turn one. I think it's a Ferrari. Say Sports.
Parsa only second, 4/10 behind Jacko. But of course, it is only the first lap of the session, so it's not worth paying too much attention to. But it's always nice to have a banker at the start of the lap, start of the session, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're just watching. I think it's probably best now to watch Hickman. In fact, let's watch Dom come around the end of the lap. He's got Red Bull coming his way. Not sure if he's held him up, but he goes into fourth place, does Dom. And here comes Hickman, then a championship leader. Now from Jacko, of course, who's now second in the championship. Can Hickman get ahead of Jacko on the first time run? It's going to be quite close. No, he cannot.
The man from Leamington Spa cannot take provisional pole, but there are still 12 minutes of the session left. Magic Poop Cannon jumps up into P2. So if the session ended like that, you may be happy with it. But as I said, quite a lot of time still to go. But he's got that banker lap in.
buzzer out of the session. I think he's gone off at the first corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very easy to lose it. They saw Jack Pearson lose it there several times yesterday. If you do try and go through the flat, it can be quite tough as well. Maybe not so much as Cops, but he's obviously lost it around that corner. Yeah, as Blake Gills, throws it in a Cops and almost loses it himself.
Yeah, Jack Pearson having a good few incidents at Silverstone, didn't really take to the track too well, but to be fair, some of those incidents weren't just him problems. It is actually a difficult track to drive, but Chris Johnson has not set a lap yet. He's working his way through Maggots and Beckett's, and he's about to go through Chapel, and let's see what his sector time is like, if indeed we do get one. And actually with the settings I have now, we do not, so I'll get that up in a moment. But DRS wide open for the Alpine.
Just worth mentioning very quickly as Chris Johnson enters this corner for the first time in a competitive session since, of course, the end of the last TGP2 season. And it was at this moment right here where he lost the car on the final lap and lost the championship to Magic Poop Cannon. He's navigated it much easier this time round and goes into 6th place. But I wonder if that maybe might give him some bad memories, come back to that moment.
Well, I think no matter how badly this race or qualifying session goes, there'll be better memories than last season, so he has nothing to really lose in that regard, so he might as well just go for it. And well, mistakes are there to be learned from, and we have most drivers back in the pits. Is Daniel P-Wheel not on another lap?
I was just wondering that. I think he is, I think he is going to finish this lap. He was just slightly down in the middle sector. Let's see if he's found time in the final sector. No, he hasn't.
Aston Martin crossing the line. It was Mackie, but he did not improve. Certainly not his position anyway.
I suppose you don't necessarily have to do just the one lap or something on the soft tyres here because of the wet race, which we assume we're going to have. You can maybe try and get a couple of laps in on the soft tyre, perhaps.
I just realised at the start of the session I said that I hope someone starts the race on mediums, but I hope they don't now, because
that's definitely not going to happen.
Yeah, so I did of course jinx it, not in the way I thought I would, but still, nonetheless, we will not see an alternate strategy unless it is on a crossover point at the start of the race.
Maybe it will be. I've noticed on the screenshots that we've had, I've had sent to me about the weather. I'm looking at it after the stream. It didn't actually give a percentage of rain. It just said rain. So I'm not sure if that means anything necessarily. But
I noticed that as well. I was like, is that just a glitch or is that? Yeah, I noticed that as well. So yes, but percentage of rain, yes, was pretty much the message we got there. Let's see who is about to start a lap. I think there's a green lemon in the final sector.
We've got Jacko. Just starting a lap. There's a lot of drivers in the pits or on out laps at the moment. I think it's only Jacko and Sir Tom Penguin who are actually on a lap right now. It actually might be worth watching Sir Tom Penguin, because just said he's gone purple in the first sector. Not sure how true that is, but if he has, he could be on for a good lap. He was 4/10 up on his lap time. Let's see if he goes flat out through Cops. No, he doesn't. Lets off the throttle slightly, probably quite sensibly. Just wants to throw it into Maggots and Beckett's. Fantastic sequence of corners, but very tricky to get right, especially the end part. But I think he took possibly a bit too much curb there. Might cost him a bit of time, but he's still 4/10 up on his previous lap time. So at the moment, this might put him possibly ahead of his teammate, perhaps.
Yeah, he'd be looking for certainly an improvement in position. He's a little bit off the pace so far in this session, but he should get this run plus another. I don't think he's got enough time for 2, but he'll certainly get another 1 run in. And Sir Tom Penguin crosses the line. An improvement in time, but not in position.
Lost a lot of time in that final sector, didn't he? So here's Jacko then, about to finish the lap. He was a bit wide there on the penultimate corner, and in fact he backs off. He was a 10th and a half up, but seemed a bit out of shape on that final chicane into Vale, and it decides to back off completely.
I think we've got the AlphaTauri of Alex Zafro with an invalid lap, so we'll watch someone else.
Yeah.
Parsa is on an out lap. Wet Lemons is on a flyer. So
Well, look at. Oh yeah, okay. We'll watch Wet Lemons then, just because we're watching Dom and Blake Grills, because Blake Grills got a fantastic toe from Dom down the Honda Street. But let's see where Wet Lemons goes out the final corner. Stays in 5th place, but Blake Grills has had a nice toe from Dom, and oh, he's going to encounter a bit of Red Bull Kim at the end of the lap, perhaps. That might slow him down ever so slightly. Wow! He takes a big chunk of curb at the end of the lap and loses a lot of time there, and only improves by a 10th.
yeah, everyone seems to be improving in such a sequence that means that when someone else improves, they don't actually change position. Because
Yeah.
I swear that's like 4 drivers now we've watched.
Oh,
Someone's
passes out
crashed.
the session. He's done a Sebastian Vettel in the British Grand Prix early this year, but he's actually hit the wall on the exit of, I think it's Luffield, isn't it? And has almost gone into the old pit lane, but instead has gone into, well, the old pit wall, I suppose maybe you could say, and is out of the session, in 3rd place, out of the session. Hickman, meanwhile, has gone to the front of the pack.
And it's very close at the front. It's 300 separating the drivers. So Parsa will finish at best in P3. So, I mean, I think he'd be happy enough with P3, but of course, we still have 6 minutes of the session to go. We still have everyone's final runs. And it's a fairly close field out there. We've got Magic Poop kind of less than a 10th behind, and other drivers, they just need to find a few tenths, and they'll be right up there with them. So, Parsa, it's a bit of a nervous wait now.
It is a bit of a nervous wait now, and I think Dom is possibly on a lap at this moment in time, and we'll see if Dom improves at all. Let's see what his middle sector is. Yeah, he's 2.5 tenths up, so we'll see where this gets him. I think he got a... Oh, he's done. That's legal. He got a bit of traffic with Red Bull Kim on his last time around, didn't he? On his first lap, so he should pick up quite a bit of time in his final sector. See what happens as he gets on the power around the final corner, doesn't take any curb at all, and goes into 7th place.
Chris Johnson displaces him into P7 for the Alpine.
Oh, look at Poop Cannon. Poop Cannon is nearly 3 tenths up, going round Stowe. Had to back out the throttle slightly there, was a bit too wide on entry, but hopefully for him it will not have cost him too much time. Can he, well, at least possibly get ahead of Parser, who's out the session? Can he maybe find himself a front row spot? Let's see. Well, he doesn't just find himself a front row spot, he puts it on pole by 1,000th of a second.
1,000th of a second for Magic Poop Cannon at the front. He will still get another run in, as will the 2 other drivers in the top 3. Look at that, 27.9, 27.9, followed by a 27.9.
Wow. Fantastic stuff as Wheelnut improves, but still stays in 9th place. Well, how about that for the top 3? And then there's quite a big... Well, it's 2 tenths to Parser, who's out the session, and another 2 tenths to Wet Lemons. So maybe those top 3 are own rivals in terms of anybody else getting close, but we will see in the final runs of this session.
Yeah, perhaps Parsa could have joined the 27.9 club, but unfortunately, not to be. He's stuck in the 28.1s. But
Blair Girls maybe just coming towards the end of the lap here. I think Blair Girls is going to improve. See if he can get into the 27s. I think he is, you know. Oh, it's a 28.2. And he goes ahead to Wet Lemons, he goes into 5th place. Nearly.
Yeah, like when I went to spectate Blair Grills, did say he was a 10th down, so I don't know if he's found 7 tenths in the final sector on his previous lap, or if that was a glitch. I know he encountered Red Bull Kim, but I don't really think he held him up. And he did have that curb.
Yeah, on the previous lap, he had that massive bit of curb at the end, didn't he? So maybe that's what lost him time last time round, perhaps.
Quite possibly, yeah. So Wheelnut is not pushing. Who have we got? We've got Theo and Jacko on outlap. And let's go on board with Jacko then on the pit straight. No DRS on this pit straight anymore. They decided that enough was enough with that. There's a bump at turn 1 which makes it quite unsafe to use. So flat out through the first 2 corners in qualifying. Now heavy on the brakes into turn 3. You want to sacrifice a little bit of speed so that you can open up turn 4. And be very careful on the throttle here. Don't want to pick up too much oversteer. Looks like it's nicely done for the Alfa Romeo. DRS open now down the Wellington straight, and you want to position your car nicely for Brooklyn. The very long corner, and it's all about how you take it through here, and he has invalidated
it.
So hopefully for him, he's got enough fuel on board that Alfa Romeo.
Been invalidating a lot of laps lately, Jacko, in qualifying, especially towards the end of a session. And yeah, so as you say, will he have enough time to get one more lap in? But it doesn't really matter if he does several laps on the tyres, because we are expecting a wet start to the race.
We've got Wet Lemons on a lap. DRS is open down the Wellington Straight. And, let's see if we can pick up from where Jacko's lap concluded.
Oh, yeah, go on.
So, around Luffield, very, very long, stressful corner. It's so many different lines you can take through it. You can take a tight line, a wide line, or just kind of stay in the middle. But Copse now a scene of many a dramatic moment in Formula 1, not least this year. And he goes very, very wide, and somehow that's valid. So apparently this is still valid, and through Magnus and Beckett's the McLaren driver goes. And it's all about compromise through the final part of this. You want to open up the corner as much as you possibly can and get the best exit you can. He's 3/10 up, effectively, on his previous time, which would be good enough for a P4 grid spot as things stand. But can he find more time in the final sector? He keeps it within track limits at Stowe. Now just the Vale, chicane and club corner to go. Looks to be fairly nice, maybe a little bit of understeer on the exit there, but Wet Lemons crosses the line and he moves up into P5 behind his teammate. The two McLarens in the top 5.
Look at Hickman coming down the Hanger Straight. He's 3/10 up. This is going to be a big, big improvement. He lost the pole position by 1,000, and now he's going to be hard on the brakes into Vale chicane at the end of the lap. And surely, I haven't spotted any mistakes. I think he's about to easily take pole here and lay down the lap time for people going to beat. Look at that, 27.5.
Trying to think if that's quicker than the lap I set last night. I think it's roughly the same time. So he's on the fringes of TGP1 with that lap. But Jacko's on another lap, and he's up on his time. At the moment, it's not going to be enough unless he can find a lot of time in these final few corners. He hits the apex very nicely from what I can tell on the nose cam, and looks to have got a decent exit. And Jacko crosses the line, and he takes pole back.
Oh, the 27.9 club's turning into the 27.5 club, and Poopcannon starts his lap time. I think we've only got several seconds left in the session. Poopcannon just made it round in time. Alex Zafro sets a good lap, goes third on the 27.8. Buchanan's really going to have to put it in the lap now. Mighty Dean Lemon's come round the final couple of corners. He's about to improve massively. Is he going to get up there as well? I think he is. He goes 6th.
So, still an improvement then. A top 6 start. That's still very solid work from the Red Bull. But Magic Poopcan is the driver to watch at this moment in time. He's half a tenth up on his time in the first sector. Now, unfortunately, we don't have access. Well, actually, I think we do. But when you're directing, you don't really have access to the race director, so you can't really see where people are gaining and losing time. So Magic Poopcan still has 2 sectors of this track to negotiate, and he's going to be P4 at worst by the looks of things, unless Dom can find a lot of time.
Flat out through Copse. Goes flat out through Copse. Brings it out through there.
He's not
Dom
really
isn't improving too much. In fact, he is improving as he crosses the centre. He's nearly 3/10 up, Dom. So this might get him off the field a little bit. I don't think he can trouble the top 4 though.
Magic Poopcan not up on his lap. He's 0.03 of a second down. So Dom, through the final 3 corners he goes. He's currently in P10. I was going to say it's not a position you want to start in, but given that it's going to be wet, I don't think it matters. And it's P5. P5 for Dom Smith. And Magic Poopcan.
Sid Tom Penguin lost it at the very end of the lap. Here comes Poopcan. Will he improve?
No, almost. Less than half a tenth off his previous lap, so I think he potentially has found the limit. But anyone else on a lap, Sir Tom Penguin has lost the car. And I think that's it. Kaya is not on a representative lap. And Jacko hasn't validated his. In fact, he may be AI, although there's no checkered flag, so I'm not quite sure on that one. But
yeah, I think he was backing off for everybody at the end of the session.
I think he's run out of fuel.
I'm not sure what he's doing here. He's not careful. He gets himself a penalty. He wants to do a little bit of a Max Verstappen style crossing of the line, I think, there. As now the AI will be in control of his car, no doubt. And I think it's just Kaya now that we are waiting for as he enters back into the pit lane. So Jacko takes what I believe is his first pole of the season. And he will be very happy with that, no doubt. Especially as he's just got into 2nd place in the championship. Just a few points behind Hickman. Hickman now will start just behind him, and Dom is 5th.
Yeah, so as you say, that is the top 5 on the grid, followed by Parsa, Mighty Green Lemon in P7 with Wet Lemons, the two lemons together on the grid. On the 4th row, Blair Grills is in P9 for Alpine, and his teammate is right behind in P10. Daniel P. Wheelnut from the front row in the last race down to P11 in this one. Sir Tom Penguin in P12, followed by Sayer Sports, Angel versus Def. Indecisive Mackie, probably disappointed with P15, followed by Kaya, Red Bull Kim, Mr. John, and Baza, who crashed out earlier in the session, who'll have to start at the back of the grid.
I think that just shows how close this season is. We unlocked right at the front last time out, win the race. I'm to start on 11th this time for Silverstone, and we're about to get to the race day, and look at the rain. It is very much a wet race.
Yeah. There isn't too much to say at the moment other than yes, it's wet. What tyres they'll be on, I can't actually tell.
I think it's going to be the wet tyres.
Yeah, they full wets. I think they are.
Yeah, I'm absolutely certain.
Yeah.
I just, and again, don't look at Ags after a stream on it. It is full wet tyres for everybody, I think. How are they going to get off the line? How are they going to get off the line at the start? Try to find out.
It is properly wet in Silverstone, and the lights, all 5 lights are on. And we are racing. We're already getting the AWS pit strategy. Not the best time, Amazon, I got to be honest. And we have a spin. Oh, there's a crash at the start. I believe it was Hickman.
He's hit Zafro.
He spun into Zafro. Jacko gets a brilliant start. We have a virtual safety car already. I mean, it's upgraded already to a full safety car. I thought it was a bit strange to have only a VSC. But yeah, full safety car deployed, unsurprisingly. Debris everywhere on that pit straight. No retirements, though.
Well, that was amazing, but sort of also inevitable at the same time, wasn't it? Hickman just totally let the rears up and just had no traction from right across the track. So much similar to what Jacko did in France last week. And, well, if Theo wants to keep up his run of winning every single race, set every single second race of the night, it's going to be some race from the back at this stage. Jacko ahead then in first. Madrid down second. Wet Lemons is up to third. He made up 5 places at that start.
So, from what I can tell, Theo has no major damage. Zafro has no front wing left whatsoever. Let's give you a quick damage report if I possibly can. That's indecisive.
Dom lost a lot of places as well. I think Dom's got damage. Yeah, Dom's got no front wing in 14th.
And that's disastrous.
Both the Aston Martins have no front wing.
For indecisive Mackie. I mean, he's already P15, so I suppose he'll only drop a few places, but that's going to be a lengthy queue. That's going to be like queuing for fuel in the UK. So, Sayer Sports looks to have emerged unscathed.
It's the longest pit lane of the season. You nearly crashed into each other, the 2 Aston Martins. What's going on here? Is this an elaborate Bonds promo to get on the some TV time?
I mean, they're certainly getting coverage now because we might as well. Hang on. Oh, sorry, they haven't even reached. They haven't even reached the Vale chicane yet. But
there we go.
Mackie, he's got no choice but to pit. I mean, he is.
Sir Tom Penguin's got off. He's back on the track though. Sorry, Roy.
So they're both in the pits. I mean, we are behind safety cars, so we might as well watch it. And actually, someone else has pitted ahead of them, have they?
It's Hickman's in. Hickman's coming, obviously. No, it's just those 4.
So just those 4, and well, they're replacing the wing now at Aston Martin, and hope they have enough spares because they have to get another one ready. Double stacking for wing changes is probably not something that they practice back at the factory. And he's still waiting. Is indecisive Mackie. Not quite sure if he had a penalty or not, but
it's the longest pit lane as well, isn't it? At very slow speeds. And it is like queuing for fuel, isn't it? Because it is the odd in there for a very long time. Oh god, that was funny.
So Theo in P16 from the front row. So he's going to have to pass the likes of Kaya, Red Bull Kim, Say Sports down in 13th. Let's just quickly have a look at the position change counter, because it is actually quite relevant in these wet conditions, because AWS think we will have a pit stop, but I do have a feeling, I mean, okay, I don't actually really know tyre wear levels in the rain, but you'd imagine there'll be
Yeah,
somebody who will feel that they don't need to pit because they don't have to in the wet. So if you put wet
yeah,
tyres on at any point or inters, you do not have to pit.
yeah, I'd be surprised really if we do get away with pit stops. Just having a look at Safro's feed, and yeah, Hickman just spun right into him, and then Dom hit the back of him, got caught up in it as well, and somehow Indecisive lost the front wing in there as well. So if you're on that, it was Hickman was on a dirty side of the grid, wasn't he? But then essentially spun into the clean side. It doesn't really matter when it's totally wet, and that is how all those drivers exited didn't exit the race, but certainly the front wings exited the car. And Blair Girls is in the pits. Well, I noticed Mighty Green Lemon got a penalty for a collision with Blair Girls. So I wonder if Blair Girls might hit the back of him perhaps, and is coming in to replace his front wing.
Dom is pitting again. I hope that's not for another front wing. Oh, there's an incident.
Red Bull Kim just hit Say Sports. Oh, did Kaya? Oh, it looks like Kaya might hit Red Bull Kim, who then hit Say Sports. So, oh dear. And it gave Say Sports a 5-second penalty, which he does not deserve. And which will be removed from his time.
So Theo's gained another place. Not quite sure what Dom was doing there. I hope the Aston Martin mechanics didn't have to replace another front wing. But you'd have to assume that they did, because why would you pit from wets and go on to wets when you were already on fresh tyres?
Well, I'm just on the just having a look at the pit stop graphic on the race director, and it doesn't say he has to change a front wing, you know. It just says that he just pitted. So I don't know, maybe if he just fancied a fresh set of wet tyres, maybe.
Maybe he's thinking the tyres will do 11 laps but not 13.
Well, because every lap's crucial, and if they are struggling with the ends, the tyres, for people who stay out, maybe it will be beneficial, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, it is a 13-lap race, so I suppose proportionately every lap does matter more, so maybe it'll work out. I mean, he was only 17th anyway.
Oh, I don't think Hickman's going to be a big fan of Kyan after this, because Kyan obviously got no front wing, and it's backing the pack up, it's slowing the pack down from Red Bull Kim in 13th, and Hickman's going to want to try and get past him straight away. Well, surely Kyan will pit, but he'll hopefully not be too slow on the restart, because look, Hickman must be getting so annoyed because he can't go past. But we are about to get a restart, and let's see how much Jacko decides to back them up for this safety car restart in the rain.
So safety car restarts are challenging enough at the best of times. Let's see how Jacko manages this one. Will he surprise them by going early? Will he reduce their opportunities by going late? On board with the Alfa Romeo driver. Let's see where the camera will pan next. Hopefully we get a better shot. He's still not going, he's still not pushing. You have to be careful. Don't light the tyres up.
Poop Cannon nearly lost it. He nearly did light the tyres up. Poop Cannon nearly lost it, and Jacko's going to have a big advantage as a restart because of that.
Jacko already 1.1 seconds clear as they cross the line, so it's a perfect restart.
Oh,
from
he
Jacko.
missed death. He spun it. He didn't reach the finish line, so hopefully they haven't got penalties ahead, because he just immediately went for the spin.
Angel versus Death, who I actually forgot to mention, he actually worked his way up to 6th somehow on that first lap. He gained 8 places, but he has spun the car. I'll just get that graphic off.
I suspect he won't be the only spinner in the next 9 laps or so. So don't forget, we could easily still have another 2 safety cars in this race, with the 3 safety cars on this game that we think there now is. But anyway, Jacko's handled the restart very well indeed. It's Poop Cannon, if anything, who's been struggling quite a bit, and Wet Lemon is going to be on the back of him here. He's got Wet Lemons in his name, he's got wet in his name. Is he going to get into 2nd place on this wet track? I think he's got some decent pace. He certainly had a very good start, and he's going to have a run on Poop Cannon. He's surely not going to go for a move into Cox though.
But Poop Cannon has missed the corner, and Wet Lemons has moved his way up into 2nd place. So Wet
It
Lemons
has.
now can now chase after Jacko in the lead. Jacko's still only 1.2 seconds clear, so he's only 1.2 seconds clear, and Wet Lemons was briefly stuck behind Magic Poop Cannon. So perhaps Wet Lemons can now go on a charge. I don't think the Mercedes has any answer for the McLaren. And speaking of McLaren, there's Parsa in P4, who will also be looking to make a move on the Mercedes driver.
Well, this is really interesting, isn't it? Is this the meaning behind Lemons' name, perhaps? Is he just really super quick in wet conditions? Is he going to close in on Jacko? Oh! He nearly lost it, but then so did Poop Cannon as well. It's going to be so difficult for these guys to keep the car on the roads. We've got Tom Penguin pitting, which of course is causing a bit of commotion on the graphics there, but Tom Penguin coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, it's a very strange pit lane entry at the Silverstone circuit. It's quite an oddly designed pit lane, I have to say, but anyway, the action on track we are seeing is that Parsa is all over the back of Poop Cannon. He does look quicker, but Poop Cannon is now sort of settling into his race. I think he's beginning to find his rhythm, find his groove, and he's sticking with Wet Lemons. And Jacko, he's not pulling away, but he's also not being caught either, so he's comfortable as things stand. And actually, we're already on lap 5 of this race. So
we are, and I'll tell you something interesting. I'll tell you something very interesting. Tom Penguin has put the intermediate tyres on.
Well,
it does look like the rain is stopping a little bit. Kaya also put the inters on, and it's certainly not as heavy as it was when the race started. Are we possibly heading towards inters?
Possibly. It'd be nice. Let's see if I can find a gap to the leader, and yeah, we do have one. So we have a spin for a Haas in the background.
It's not Kaya. It's Angel versus Death on the wet tyres.
Wets. Okay, so of course it is easy to spin regardless of your tyre compound in the wet conditions. So Jacko stays out, as does Wet Lemons.
Just having a look at Bazir on Mr. John for 8th place. They are side by side. Very difficult to overtake in the wet conditions on their racing games, on F1 games in the past couple of years. But Baz is going to make that one work and gets into 8th place. And nice move by Bazir. But nobody else is coming in for inters. No. He spun.
There's another spin. There's a Williams who spun.
Hickman. It's championship leader.
Paris is retired.
And passes out. Passes out to Abbey. And we've got another safety car. Absolute carnage all of a sudden. Parson must have just totally dropped it into turn 1.
It looked like Tom Penguin was kind of keeping pace with the leader.
Well, that's the interesting thing, isn't it?
Remained at 37, but of course we've had a lot of action on track. I can't really, it's difficult to watch the times. But so Tom Penguin stays out. Indecisive Mackie comes into the pits. He's got indecisive in his name, but he's very decisive in his tyre choice. He's gone for the intermediate tyre, so he's also feeling he either has A, nothing to lose, or B, the track is actually drying up ever so slightly.
Well, it's the first TGP wet race on this game, and it is causing a lot of question marks in this race. And Indecisive has put the intermediate tyres on. So Indecisive also going for inters. So are these guys all going to come in now under the safety car to put the intermediate tyres on?
You'd have to say, if it's only gonna, even if the safety car comes in and they have to survive 2 laps, it's probably going to be worth it.
Yeah, I think it might be, and it's definitely looking a bit brighter up ahead as well. Almost looks like blue skies. So what's Jacko going to do? This is a big moment in this race. He stays out. They're all staying out, the top 3. Is Chris Johnson coming in? No, they're all staying out. I thought maybe one of them would risk it.
Yeah, it's drive-through penalty for Sir Tom Penguin. He was probably the most, although Indecisive Mackie, we'll see what he does. But we have into the pits Alex Zaffro and Dom Smith. So it's only Aston Martin and AlphaTauri who feel like rolling the dice, it seems.
And Mr. John's left the session. I didn't realise Mr. John was the host in this lobby, but okay. But Alex Zaffro, coming in, and Dom also coming in. Is Dom going to put the inters on? Yes, he is.
So Dom in and out of the pit lane for the 3rd time in 6 laps. It's been eventful for him. He's still running in P13. So it says a lot about the conditions that we've had. Drivers really struggling out there. I mean, of course, Parsa has DNF'd after going off at turn 1. And actually, will Dom stay ahead of Sir Tom Penguin? He will indeed. Of course, Sir Tom Penguin does have that drive-through penalty, so he will fall back behind the Aston Martin anyway. But it's always nice at the restart to have some good track position. So
Yeah, absolutely.
let's have a look at the tyres. So
well, we've got the top 11 are all on wets. And we've got Alex Zafra on inters, Dom on inters, Sir Tom Penguin on inters, Angel vs Death on wet, Indecisive on inters, Red Bull Kim on wets, Kaya on intermediate tyres. But the cars are still quite spread out. Well, in fact, just to say that, Mr. John has now, his AI car anyway, has found the pack and comes in. But interestingly, just because Mr. John left the session, and Penguin's out the race. Has he crashed out the race?
He's crashed, yeah. He crashed on the exit of Lovefield. So, and Kaya looks to have disconnected.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because Mr. John is out the session, possibly if I was behind Mr. John, I'd just do basically what his car does at this stage, because he's an AI car right now. So if the AI pits, then I would probably pit myself. But again, everybody stays out at the front of the queue. This is very interesting, isn't it? And Mr. John's car, interestingly as well, does stay out. So Alex Zafra catching up the field on those intermediate tyres for this safety car restart on the next lap. Dom will be there as well. Oh, this is going to be so interesting, isn't it?
I really can't help but feel that when the safety car may come in and the wets may still be the right tyre, but I just can't help but feel that it would be better to pit for inters if it is going to end up being inter conditions.
And Theo has got a penalty for hitting, well, Blake Grills and Theo have got a penalty. Theo's the car behind, so presumably Hickman was the one who caused the incident. I assume that will be removed after the race, the penalty, but I'm just trying to see if he's got any damage. I can't work it out so far because we're getting absolutely abysmal camera angles on my screen. So we'll see what happens with that one as well. You have only got 5 laps to go. We'll be on lap 9 at the restarts of 13.
Yeah,
Oh, he has. Theo's got no front wing. Hickman has no front wing, so Hickman must have gone into the back of Blair Grills. And, well, on the first safety car restart, I was saying he might be getting annoyed with Kai for not having a front wing. At the moment, it'll be Baz getting annoyed because Hickman has no front wing. And that is an incredible, terrible moment for the championship leader. Especially if Jacko goes on to win this. It's beginning to look like Hickman will not be leading the championship come the end of the night. And he's certainly not going to continue his run of winning the second race of the night.
Yeah, there's been a few clumsy incidents, but most of them seem to have occurred behind the safety car in this race. It's the pack bunching up, and yeah, the wet conditions certainly not helping that with the visibility involved. And yeah, I've noticed that Theo seems to have reset to defaults. I noticed he usually had a blue helmet, but it seems to have gone back to that weird kind of green and red one. But the safety car is in this lap, so Jacko. It's greenish. There's a green undertone to it.
I don't know. We'll
anyway, we have more pressing matters, such as the safety car restart. Now, Jacko did it very, very well last time, but he does have a different driver behind him. Wet Lemon seems to be more comfortable at the start in these conditions, and I think Jacko, has he already gone? No, he has not.
No, he hasn't.
Still...
Oh, he's right alongside Wet Lemons, isn't he? Wet Lemons wants to make the most of this.
I'm stuck on the nose cam, but Jacko has gone, and Wet Lemons has gone
Jacko's
with him.
He has. Oh, Jacko spun it!
He's out!
He's lost it! He's hit the wall! He's out of the race! He's succumbed to the pressure of Wet Lemons, who takes the lead. Unbelievable.
Wet Lemons leads in the rain. Natural territory for Wet Lemons, and Jacko is out of the race. Magic Poop Cannon just a half a second behind, gets a big load of oversteer on the exit, but keeps it on the track. So it's Wet Lemons from Magic Poop Cannon from Chris Johnson, who's worked his way up onto the podium. And let's just see, I've almost forgotten that there's drivers on the intermediates out there, so let's see how they begin to fare.
Well, it's not going too bad for Alex Zafro. I mean, he's certainly right on the back of Baza. And is he maybe going to try and get past into 8th place, maybe? Because Dom gets past Mr. John. Oh, Mr. John isn't here, of course, but Dom is in 10th place now and indecisive through as well. And Alex Afro, he's right on the back of Bazza. Is he going to get through into Cops? No, he's not. 4 laps to go in this race. Is Alex Afro going to come through and possibly win it?
It looks as though they're kind of on the crossover point. Daniel Wheelnut picks up a 3-second penalty for track limits. It looks as if like the pace is even enough between the two of them, but if it's even, then surely that means it's going to just fall into the hands of the intermediate runners. There's no DRS, of course, in these conditions to help them out, and you can't actually tell if they're harvesting or not because the rain light is on regardless. But Alex Afro up the inside of Bazza, and now bear in mind, Alex Afro is quick in these conditions. He did qualify in P3, so it could just be natural pace, but surely if you're on a slower tyre, you will suffer. So Alex Afro, there's contact,
and it's not worked.
The camera
it's not
angle.
working. He tried to come back at him, but it didn't work. And now he's side by side with Dom. Is Dom going to get through on the inters here? Oh, Baz is still trying to hang it in there, but Dom is through then. So Dom in 9th, Alex Afro in 8th, catching up to Blair Gills. Got 3 laps to go in this absolutely fascinating race. And we should just say that Blair Gills, Sayer Sports, Green Lemon, those 3 drivers are all going to have penalties, which I'm sure are all going to be removed.
Yeah, and Alex Afro is making slight inroads. If a yellow flag, it's a spin for Red Bull Kim.
It's Red Bull Kim, yeah.
And Alex Afro, he's closing in slightly on Blair Grills, but Blair Grills is behind Sayer Sports in the Ferrari, so could just be a train. Red Bull Kim's gone for another spin, but we're focusing right now on Alex Afro, who the pace looks fairly even enough, although he's got a great exit out of Luffield and surely not around the outside of Cops in these conditions. He does not have the momentum, so he'll have to wait until probably the hangar straight unless he can get a mega run out of Cops, but he fails to do so. But
Wheelnut and Chris Johnson was side by side there going into Maggott and Beckers. You know why we're going side by side there, let alone in the pouring rain? But he's going to have a run here, Wheelnut. He has got a penalty, and it is a real penalty. It's a real corner cut 3-second penalty, but will he still get ahead of Chris Johnson regardless here? I don't think he will. Chris Johnson had enough down the straight, but Wet Lemons at the moment is 10 for his first TGP victory, as Blair Gills is going to get through. Alex Afro, the battling. Is Alex Afro on the Inters going to make it into 7th? Afro gets a penalty. Blair Gills gets a penalty, sorry. Afro is in 7th, and now he's on the back of Sayer Sports. They're coming through on the Inters. Here comes Dom as well. Dom spun.
Oh, he's spun.
And Indecisive hits him.
Aston Martin with potentially more front wings to replace in this race. And Alex Afro all over the back of Sayer Sports, who turns 1 and 2. It's going to have to dry up pretty rapidly if Alex Afro is going to make this work. But I think he will still gain positions regardless. He definitely looks quicker than Sayer Sports. He goes around the outside of the loop. The camera angle could change to a wider shot. That would be very nice. But Alex Afro, he's got a much better exit. And he's already up into P6. Now, can he challenge the top 5 as Theo Hickman sets the fastest lap of the race in P15?
On the Inters. On the
intermediate tyre. So he's going to have to get past Red Bull Kim, which I'd imagine he'll do fairly easily. And that fastest lap point will count. But look at this. Look at Alex Afro. He's all over the back of this pack of 3 cars. He can find his way onto the podium here.
I think he can win it. Basically, 11, my goodness, I mean, he loses it. And in fact, he's just slowing down. He just lets them through there. Alex Afro almost running the back of Wheelnut. He just needs to be so careful. He doesn't want to get involved in any incidents because he should have the position done. Because it does look as though the Inter is the tyre to be on right now. And he just has to get through Maggott and Beckett. We've got a yellow flag out.
It's Theo.
Spun. And here we go. He engages the ERS and he's going to easily breeze through into 4th. He's heading for the podium. He might be heading for the victory.
I don't know. There's 2 laps left. He has to catch up about 3 seconds a lap if he's going to do that. The gap is quite large, but he has to make the move now on this Alpine. And is he going to do it? He's not. And there's almost contact, or is there contact?
He didn't make contact, but he got away with it just. But Wheelnut staying in there. Mighty Green Lemon as well. Wheelnut loses the car. But surely Alex Afro, he's got to get past Chris Johnson immediately if he wants to catch up to the top 2. Surely he has to make the move. It still looks very wet there through the first couple of corners. Chris Johnson pulling away ever so slightly. But maybe the chance of the win is beginning to slip away from Alex Afro, but he can definitely get a podium.
Just has one car to pass. If he's going to do that, he's up the inside now of the Wellington corner onto the Wellington straight.
Oh, he's still there, Chris Johnson. He's
Side by
stuck it in there.
side. Chris Johnson, it does look like Chris Johnson has a lot of straight line speed at his disposal. Now Alex Zaffro on the inside. It's a lot of lines you can take through Brooklands, and Alex Zaffro makes it work down the inside. Now, can he chase after the top two? I think he'll certainly close the gap, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough, although he did rapidly close on Pip Cannon in that corner. So we'll see
this
how
is
this pans
fantastic.
out.
This is fantastic. We should just mention, by the way, that the three championship contenders have all had terrible races. Dom has got damage, of course, when he spun. He's in 13th, Hickman spun. In 15th, Jacko's out. So an absolutely dreadful race for the top three in the championship. But we're watching Zaffro, who's closing the gap to 5 seconds down Pip Cannon. I think he's just gained a second since he's passed Chris Johnson. I think he's going to do it, you know. He's going to be on the back of them, surely, come the end.
He may just run out of time. What he needs really is for Wet Lemons to make a slight mistake and to start battling with Magic Poop Cannon, who, by the way, has closed the gap at the front to 0.6 of a second, now 5. So the race for the win is certainly not over. Even if Alex doesn't catch him, there's still a battle going on for this race win, as Chris Johnson and Daniel Wheelnut do battle, and Chris Johnson just about holds the position from the Mercedes, the race winner at the Red Bull Ring, and Alex Zaffro is now only 3.8 seconds back. Make that 3.6, and you know, I'm just going to stop talking because the number just keeps changing all the time.
I think much like Sunday, we're going to have to basically just ignore everything going on below the podium places, because this is all about the Alex Zaffro right now, who is closing in this final lap, and this is going to be possibly one of the greatest TGP wins ever. If he does this, he fits in the safety car, the second safety car, and he's closing in with final corner to go. Purple sector 1, 1.7 seconds is the gap. He's surely going to be on the back of them. He's surely going to do it, isn't he? He's going to deny Wet Lemons his first win.
Quite possibly. The gap's now only 1.7 and rapidly decreasing. The thing that may save Wet Lemons.
He's not even bothering. He's not even bothering with Magic Poop Cannon. He's not even bothering to fight. He lets him through, and it's going to be all down to the final sector for Alex Zaffro to take the victory here.
Well, I mean, I guess Magic Poop Cannon knew the game was up anyway. I don't think Wet Lemons is going to appreciate that very much. The gap is now only 0.7 of a second. Make that 4. I mean, surely Alex has got the run now. He's got a better exit. It's a purple second sector.
He hasn't got any deployment, though. He's already used all his deployments, and Wet Lemons is using it. He's going to have to go for the move in the final chicane for the win.
He has to find an alternate line through here and get a better exit, and they're side by side now heading into the Vale chicane on the final lap of the race. Alex Zaffro tries to brave around the outside, and he does it. They've made contact. They've made contact, but it's Alex Zaffro who will cross the line first after a brilliant strategic call. Alex Zaffro wins with the fastest lap on the final lap in Silverstone. Magic Poop Cannon comes home in P2. Chris Johnson completes the podium. Wet Lemons is out of the race.
Yeah, Wet Lemons, he couldn't get going again. That is one of the greatest final laps to a TGP race I've ever seen. It might be possibly the greatest, in fact. I mean, we thought the final lap last season was incredible. Chris Johnson battling for the title, losing it at the end. But that is something else. On the intermediate tyres, from the back of the grid, essentially, on the safety car restart, he's come through and he has won the race. That is unbelievable.
And the camera angle that I saw, it did look... Oh, Theo is actually taking fastest lap away from Alex. I don't think Alex is really going to care too much. But it did look as though Alex gave him space.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think Alex can be blamed for that at all. He was ahead and Wet Lemons tried to stick it out there, tried to just be late on the brakes and risk everything. And it cost him. I don't think Alex Zaffro can take any blame at all for that accident. And
let's remind ourselves of where Alex was on lap 1 as Indecisive Mackie picks up driver of the day. But again, I'll disagree with the algorithm. I'll give this one to our race winner, Alex Zaffro, who started third and was he was sort of mangled at the start of the race when Theo spun, and has worked his way back up to not only the podium but the race win.
Just very quickly, obviously we had those penalties for the safety car instance, so ITV Lemon, I think you can take 5 seconds off his time, so that'll be 13.4 behind, and Say Sport, you can take 10 seconds off his time, so I think Say Sport actually finished ahead of Mighty Green Lemon. And I think you know, say 10 seconds off Blade Girls as well, so they're going to be around what, 4th, 5th, 6th perhaps maybe. They might have taken up those positions at the end of the race, but I mean, what a disaster for the championship contenders. Dom 12th, Hickman 13th, Jacko lost it under the safety car, and Wet Lemons, who was leading up to the very end, lost it at the very end when he went for the tried to risk out staying in the lead. Wow, what a race!
Yep, like I was going to do the run through the order, but as we mentioned,
sorry,
the penalties. Oh no, it's not. I was just going to say, like, even in general, even if you didn't do that, I wouldn't have done it anyway, because as you can see, we've got penalties that have yet to be confirmed. Most of which I'd imagine will be removed. It's the ones that are in multiples of 5 that tend to get removed, unless of course they're found to be at fault. Theo Hickman actually, with those dramas at the end of the race, did manage to get back into the points and does actually get that extra point for fastest lap.
I think he got the same amount of points as Dom in that race. I think he got the same amount of points as Dom,
and which is
so
2 more than Jack. No, 3 more than Jacko.
So I think Jacko and Dom will possibly be tied on points. I might be wrong on that, but I think judging from the results of the last race, well, they might be very clear. I think he might be 1 point behind, maybe Dom. Dom might be 1 point behind, and Hickman will probably be about 10 points ahead, maybe, of Jacko. So I don't know. We'll find out later once it all gets worked out. But what an amazing race that was. Had a few delays with the safety car, but that was an unbelievable finish.
And I have to agree, that was a fantastic spectacle that we saw in Silverstone. Drama from start to finish, literally start to finish.
Yeah.
And Alex Afro kind of at the centre of both of those major incidents. So, fantastic night of racing. Thoroughly enjoyed tonight, and I hope you did watching on the stream. And I hope you will join us next week, where we will head to the Hungaroring and Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. It's been Jovial Manatee with Dan the Man alongside me, and I wish you all a good night and hope to see you next week.